Hello and welcome to Northern Italy and the temple of speed that is Monza, one of the most evocative names in motor racing and home to rounds 9 and 10 of the 2015 TCR International Series. Hello everyone, welcome to race day here at Monza. This is Mark James in the commentary box. I'll take you through both of this afternoon's races. We look there at the grid for round 9, and this is the track, the third oldest racing venue in the world. Opened in 1922, the 11 corners and some of the most iconic names in motor racing history that make up the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see, or you saw, Gianni Morbidelli on pole position. There, the West Coast Racing team management. James Nixon now on the right of your screen. Paul Ridgway on the left, Gianni's race engineer. There is Gianni Morbidelli, his second pole position of the season, getting the final good wishes before the door is closed and he sets off on his green flag lap. The last time Gianni Morbidelli was on pole for a round of the TCR International Series was in Shanghai for rounds 3 and 4. He won round 3 from pole and very nearly came from 10th on the grid to win round 4. Back-to-back wins on a power track. The Honda's always favoured to go well here at Monza and predicted to do well next weekend as well in Salzburg in Austria. And so far this weekend we've seen Gianni Morbidelli dominate proceedings. Temperatures at Monza this afternoon a little warmer than they were yesterday, but more importantly, the skies yesterday were grey with high cloud and the threat of rain towards the end of qualifying. The rain thankfully held off. Today, very different. Blue skies, little white puffy clouds in the distance, and none of the threat of rain that we saw for qualifying. Morbidelli then leads the field of 15 cars away on their green flag lap. Several no-shows, and the most dramatic of which was David Roda in the Zengo Motorsport car number 90, who crashed heavily in free practice here yesterday morning. The clip of his accident is on the TCR Series Facebook page. An extremely dramatic looking accident which ended with the car on its roof. Roda happily out of the car and well, but the car having suffered damage to its roll cage and so will play no part in proceedings today. Also, one of the two Opel Astras from the Campos Racing team not starting today, so 15 cars on the grid. And there is the grid with Gianni Morbidelli and Stefano Comini, championship leader, starting alongside. On the second row, Pepe Oriola and Sergei Avanasiev from the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team. Andrea Bellicchi, Fernando Monge in the other Opel Astra, the best qualifying performance from them, 6th on the grid ahead of Igor Shkuz and Jordi Genet. And then rounding off the top 10, it's Antonio D'Amico from the BD Racing Motorsport team in Italy, 9th with Mikhail Grachev, 10th for the Encla Motorsport Liquimoli team. With the reversed grid, it'll be Grachev who will start race 2 from pole. And then at the back of the grid, it's notable there, the car that's in the 14th on the grid, last but one, Tom Boardman, with the welcome return of the Ford Focus ST for the pro team operation from Italy, built by Onyx Motorsport in the UK. Was present in Sepang, possibly a little too prematurely. There is the Focus, just ahead of Kevin Gleeson, who will start from the very back of the grid after crashing in qualifying yesterday. But Tom Boardman, having tested the Ford Focus at Brands Hatch in the UK just over a week ago, some problems with the gearbox remain. They had problems yesterday in testing and in qualifying, but the car is on the grid, even though it's last but one. But it is good to see the Ford Focus return to the TCR International Series after missing several rounds for development work. There is our series leader, Stefano Comini, the only man to have won more than one round of the series, and there is the points position. Pepe Oriola, 13 points down on Comini, with Gianni Morbidelli, the 5 points for pole position, having helped him to 96 points in third place. It's also worth pointing out the success ballast position. Jordi Genet, you saw there, 4th in the points table, is the man with the most success ballast here in Monza, 30 kilos. with Michel Nukier on 10 kilos, thanks to their performances in the previous round 2 weeks ago in Portimao in Portugal. Down then the back straight, 900 meters or so, down to one of the most iconic corners in world motorsport, the long 180-degree right-hander that is the Parabolica, which gets the cars back onto the start-finish straight. We look from Comini's car. He'll be starting alongside Gianni Morbidelli on the front row of the grid. And it's vital here at Monza to get a good start, and the drag down a fairly long, I suppose 10 seconds or so, that gets you down to the first right-left chicane, known as Retifilo. And providing you can get through that okay, then it's the long right-hander at Curva Grande, down to the second chicane, Variante della Roggia, the two Lesmos, and then down to the chicane named after Alberto Ascari, who tragically lost his life here at that part of the circuit 60 years ago this coming Tuesday. And the chicane there bears his name. And then it's around the Parabolica onto the start-finish straight. 11 laps, a total of around 62 kilometers, this TCR International Series race, as the cars form up on the grid. There is the view from Kevin Gleeson's car. There's Gregor Pettersson from West Coast Racing, very anxious to see his man start from the very first position on the grid, even though Gleeson will be at the back, starting alongside Tom Boardman in the Ford. As we wait for the grid to form up, Morbidelli will be hoping for a good start, as will Comini alongside him, who grew up starting his racing career here at Monza. Started in the Trofeo Cadetti. There's the green flag. What will happen in this run down to the first chicane? The red lights go on, they go off, and we're looking for Morbidelli, and Morbidelli doesn't make a great start. I have to say, Pepe Oriola alongside. Comini leaves just enough space for Pepe Oriola to get alongside. Has Oriola managed to squeeze through? A little bit of contact, some bumping and banging between the two Seats, and Morbidelli's been squeezed out on the right-hand side, the left-hand side of the track, excuse me, as they thread through. A little bit of bumping and banging. Fernando Monge in the Opel Astra involved, but Morbidelli drops from first to third in that drag down to the first chicane. And Pepe Oriola makes the perfect start with its Andrea Bellicchi alongside him. Then it's Morbidelli, then Comini, and Jordi Genet having made it up into fifth place. Monge still sixth. And also it would appear at the back of the grid that Gleeson's made up a couple of places, as has, Boardman's made up one place from 14th to 13th. Jolt Jarbo, the Zengo Motorsport Junior team driver, appearing in the TCR International Series for the first time. He is right at the back of the field at the moment. Not a great start from him. We head down under the bridge, and this is down into the Ascari chicane for the first time. Pepe Oriola leads from Andrea Bellicchi, from Gianni Morbidelli, from Stefano Comini. And that was Avanasiev, I think, taking to the gravel at Ascari. Everybody cleanly through, though. Boardman loses that place, back down to 14th. As we watch them through the Parabolica for the first time, Comini carrying no ballast here, but will be wondering what on earth happened away from the start line. Left just too much room for Pepe Oriola, despite the contact between the pair. It was Oriola that made it down to the first chicane in the lead. And it's Andrea Bellicchi, winner of the second race in Shanghai. As Morbidelli takes a look up, but almost unnoticed, it's as Morbidelli was taking a look at the back of Bellicchi, it was Comini who came through from fourth to third. And it must now be Morbidelli's turn to wonder what on earth happened. We were expecting, after the domination of the weekend so far by Gianni Morbidelli, quickest in testing on Friday, both free practice sessions yesterday, and then in the two qualifying sessions yesterday afternoon, to be on pole position. And yet Gianni Morbidelli is currently in fourth behind three Seats. 5th is Jordi Genet, 6th is Fernando Monge. There's Lorenzo Veglia ahead of Igor Shkuz, and Kevin Gleeson's having made it up from 15th to 10th. So all three of the West Coast Racing Honda cars now in the top 10. As Beliki takes a little look at Pepe Oriola, but a little bit too far behind. The three Seats frustrating Gianni Morbidelli. And slipstreaming, absolutely vital at the long straights here at Monza, as they head down for the second time to the Ascari chicane. Everybody cleanly through. Oriola from Beliki, from Comini now in 3rd, Morbidelli 4th, Genet 5th, Fernando Monge 6th. Then it's Mikhail Grachev in the first of the Liqui-Moly Seats. And Morbidelli has a look. Comini moves to block, and it works. But Comini now also having a look at Beliki, his teammate from Target Competition alongside. Morbidelli has a look down this long start-finish straight, but possibly not close enough to have any effect, although Comini has a look. And will he? Yes, he does. He attacks his teammate. So Comini goes up the inside of Beliki, and it looks as though he's made it stick. Will Morbidelli go through as well? No, but a brilliant piece of driving from Stefano Comini, who takes second place away from Andrea Beliki going down into the first chicane. Still Pepe Oriola who leads, but it's now Stefano Comini second, Andrea Beliki third, Gianni Morbidelli fourth. As we take a look at the start once again, Morbidelli made a poor start by his standards. Both the Seats getting away well. In particular, Pepe Oriola goes up the middle. Let's look at it from this elevated position, and you see there, the gap is just big enough for Oriola to go through, and you don't leave gaps like this when you've got a man like Pepe Oriola starting from the second row of the grid. He says, thank you very much. I'll have the lead, thank you. Now this will be from Jordi Genet's car, I think. Yes, there's Avanasiev ahead, and Genet will... We didn't see Genet get past Avanasiev at the start. We were concentrating on the group. There's the passing move from Avanasiev. Genet up alongside. There's Monge on the right, who just taps the rear. We didn't quite see it, of Comini's car. But a gap now starting to develop between Pepe Oriola and Stefano Comini. Beliki third, holding off a determined Gianni Morbidelli. We're on lap 3 of 11. And the battle for first place, a four-way affair. As we look down the back straight, 900 meters or so, going into the right-hander at the Parabolica. Morbidelli now also concerned about Jordi Genet behind him. So the predicted storming before... what was I about to say? Gianni Morbidelli goes up the right-hand side of Andrea Beliki, and so this is the moment that Gianni Morbidelli was waiting for, biding his time, gets back up into the podium positions as Jordi Genet takes a look also up the inside of Beliki, and has he made it stick? I don't think so. It's still Pepe Oriola that leads. No, indeed, Jordi Genet does not get past Andrea Beliki, who hangs on to fourth place. But Morbidelli timed that move beautifully coming out of the Parabolica. As car 24, Kevin Gleeson, goes up the inside of the pale blue-grey Seat of Mikhail Grachev. Grachev will be on pole for race 2. Must be wondering what on earth is going to happen behind him with the kind of pace that these guys are setting in race 1. Our leaderboard then still headed by Pepe Oriola from Stefano Comini, but Gianni Morbidelli now third ahead of Beliki. Genet still fifth ahead of Monge. Lorenzo Veglia just ahead of Gleeson, who passed Grachev there, you saw, with Sergei Avanasiev in the last of the point-scoring positions. Michel Nukia just outside in 11th. Igor Shkuz 12th. Antonio D'Amico 13th. Then it's Jabo, then Boardman. Still running, which is a positive for the team with the problems they've had with that gearbox. And that was Pepe Oriola holding off a slightly ambitious Stefano Comini as they come down into Ascari for the 4th time. Through the haze comes Pepe Oriola, winner of the first round in Valencia, So from the 8 rounds, Morbidelli moves out to attack Comini, who then moves to block. And Comini is up alongside Pepe Oriola going round Parabolica, but he will be on the longer route as Gianni Morbidelli gets up alongside. Morbidelli takes second place. And Comini, just having moved off the line to attack Pepe Oriola, having left Gianni Morbidelli through, who now also takes a look at the leader. And the power of the Honda, the Civic, goes past Pepe Oriola, but has Morbidelli left it around? Also, Comini takes a look. Morbidelli, though, on the left-hand side of the track going into the first chicane, and no, indeed, Pepe Oriola holds the line. Morbidelli still second. Comini drops to third, ahead of Beliki, ahead of Genet. Monge still sixth in the Campos Racing Opel. Their best position so far. And he's also defending now from Kevin Gleeson, who, remember, started from the back of the grid after his excursion into the gravel yesterday in qualifying. But that is the battle for the lead. This is the scrap that we thought that we'd have, but in the other way round. We thought that Morbidelli would do what he did in Shanghai and go pretty much lights to flag, but he finds himself attacking Pepe Oriola. The pair with no success ballast, although neither does Beliki. It's Jordi Genet with 30 kilos and Michel Nukia with 10, who are the drivers penalised for their performances, their success in the previous 2 rounds. As Morbidelli takes a little look, but no, through Ascari. And this is the section at which the overtaking manoeuvres may happen. Morbidelli then takes a look, tucked up behind Oriola as they take the drag down to the Parabolica for the 5th time. And he moves to the left side of the track. Oriola moves to defend. The pair bumper to bumper, but that's also Comini alongside them. A little bit too far back. What can Morbidelli do? The power of the Honda, this last, down the start-finish straight for the last time, the previous time, showed the power of the Honda, and this regarded very much as a power track. As we get confirmation that Avanasiev has passed Grachev for 9th. No changes this time, though. Oriola holds the lead from Morbidelli, from Comini, Beliki. Genet still 5th, ahead of Monge. Gleeson now up to 7th, ahead of Valia. Avanasiev 9th, Grachev 10th. And those are the point-scoring positions, which go from 25 points for a win down to 1 point for 10th place. Around Curva Grande, we're now looking from the second chicane. Still Pepe Oriola from Gianni Morbidelli, from Stefano Comini. Our 3 podium places. Beliki 4th, Genet 5th, Monge now dropping back and defending from Kevin Gleeson. That 6th place of Fernando Monge looking under threat, you'd have to say, but Oriola so far driving brilliantly. All the pressure, it would appear, to be on Gianni Morbidelli this weekend. Italian driver, Italian circuit. And the car, of course, built by Yas Sport in Italy. They have an awful lot of guests and hospitality potential buyers here at Monza this weekend. They desperately want to see a Honda victory this weekend. But with the race around halfway through, Morbidelli takes an extremely wide line coming down the back straight towards Parabolica. And Comini poised to pounce. It was Comini who talked me around this circuit yesterday, talking about braking points, lines and gears and so forth. But Morbidelli, as we take a look at the view from Comini's car, Morbidelli up alongside Pepe Oriola, and has he done it this time? He comes down the start-finish straight. Yes, he has. The power of the Honda, the strength of that Honda engine, everybody talked about beforehand, saying it would be a huge advantage here at Monza. Powers Morbidelli past, but also Stefano Comini gets past Pepe Oriola. So Oriola goes from 1st to 3rd in the space of a few hundred meters. It was Comini who outbraked himself going into the first chicane. Takes no advantage from it as Andrea Bellicchi gets up alongside his teammate. Bellicchi then moves up into third place, going around Curva Grande. But Gianni Morbidelli has moved into the lead of this 9th round of the TCR International Series, ahead of Pepe Oriola, our early leader. Then it's Stefano Camini, who retakes third place away from Andrea Bellicchi. Then it's Jordi Genet. The gap behind Genet has closed up. It's Fernando Monge 6th. Let's just take another look at that. And really, you'll see the rumble strips there to discourage drivers from taking to the inside line going through the first chicane. And Camini not really going to make it. He takes to the rumble strips and is penalised for it. The West Coast Racing team pleased at their man taking the lead. There is their man, Gianni Morbidelli, ahead now of Pepe Oriola, ahead of the two target competition cars of Stefano Camini and Andrea Bellicchi. Jordi Genet still 5th, right up behind Bellicchi. Then Fernando Monge, still battling with Kevin Gleeson for that 6th place. And as we look at it, has Gleeson moved? He's alongside Monge, but no, Monge holds the place. There is the battle for 6th. Monge in the Astra, an awful lot of development work has gone on since the last pair of races at Portimao. The team changing an awful lot of components on the car, including the front suspension and the rear wing, Monge was telling me. And Monge holds the dual position of the team sporting director and now their driver here at Monza, as Kevin Gleeson moves up alongside. Has the American driver snatched away 6th place? As we see Morbidelli go into the first chicane, yes, indeed he has. It's Kevin Gleeson who then outbrakes himself and goes straight on at the first chicane. There is Gleeson, who cannot take any advantage from that position, and so he allows Monge to take 6th place back. Monge hugely relieved at Gleeson outbraking himself and really having no option but to take to the escape road. Has to weave around the arrows to take no advantage at all, and so he's back behind Fernando Monge. As we look at our leading pack, there is Gianni Morbidelli from Pepe Oriola, coming under pressure now from Stefano Camini, from Andrea Bellicchi. Jordi Genet there, and Igor Shkuz into the pits. And Shkuz out of the car, and that's clearly his race over. So our first retirement after 8 laps, Igor Shkuz into the pits. So we're down to 14 cars. Lorenzo Vaglia there going straight on at the second chicane. There's Jordi Genet in 4th place. So it's Honda, Seat, Seat, Seat. Seat Opel. So 3 brands in the top 5 as Stefano Camini takes another look at Pepe Oriola, but has to settle for 3rd place at the moment as Gianni Morbidelli comes round the Parabolica to start his 9th lap. Pepe Oriola defending from Stefano Camini, from Andrea Bellicchi. Now, those positions not changing in the last lap or so, but you'd have to say Camini very much on home turf here in Monza. He's Swiss, not Italian, but lives about 60 kilometers or so away in Lugano, and no, doesn't make it stick again. Pepe Oriola holds on. Camini then still in 3rd ahead of Andrea Bellicchi. And confirmation there, Shkuz at the back of the field, taking no further part in proceedings, but Boardman in the Ford, way down, running on his own in 14th place. As we wait for the leaderboard to catch up. Morbidelli then from Oriola. This is looking into the first chicane, and that's where Oriola just defends from Camini. Oh, that is that's car 25. That's Stefano Camini who gets through into the gravel at the outside of the second Lesmo, and body damage. There's blue smoke trailing from the car. Just trying a little too hard, taking to the gravel on the outside of the second Lesmo. And there he is, having dropped right down the field with smoke trailing from the car. Let's take another look at that. He runs across the curb way into the grass, into the gravel. That's where David Roda had his huge accident yesterday morning in first free practice. There goes Comini, and as he comes back on, you'll see part of the bodywork just fly off the rear of the Seat. He avoids repeating Roda's huge accident yesterday. There is Michel Nukier in the other target competition car. The leaders then on their 10th lap. Oriola still second. There is the car of Stefano Comini. Now, whether there was contact there, I don't think there was, but we clearly saw the aftermath of it going through into the gravel. But his race is over. He's parked up, which will be a massive disappointment for the Swiss driver. And indeed, as the cars go through Ascari, and Nukier, that is, who's pulled up with blue smoke coming from the front of the car and damage to the front end. So what happened there? That's something we missed. We'll see that on a replay. There is Nukier on there's contact between, that's Grachev, Avanasiev, and it's Grachev who hits Nukier's car and causes the damage. Avanasiev and Grachev limp on, but Nukier is going no further. And as I say, blue smoke coming from the front of the car. Let's look at that from Nukier's car. There's the gap. He goes for it, and there is Avanasiev's car, touched by Grachev, and Nukier, the innocent bystander in all of that. Grachev's car with front left damage, smoke trailing from the damaged tyre, but Nukier is out of the car and is going no further. Grachev limping back round to the pits for the Ingstler team to repair the damage, but his race effectively over. But what of Avanasiev? That car too will be badly damaged as we rejoin the action looking at Andrea Bellicchi and Jordi Genet. That's the battle for third place now, the scrap for the third and final podium place. And there is Avanasiev, the car, barely able to steer. As you can see, damage to the front end, broken steering. As we look down the start-finish straight, it's Morbidelli, then it's Oriola, and Genet alongside Andrea Bellicchi. Has Genet snatched third place? I don't think he has, no. It's Andrea Bellicchi who defends from a charging Jordi Genet. Genet, remember, carrying 30 kilos of success ballast. And right on Andrea Bellicchi's rear bumper. There in the background you see Nukier's stricken car. So he will go no further. Morbidelli now has, what, 2/3 of a lap or thereabouts as he goes through the second chicane. Genet again looks at the back of Bellicchi's car. This will be his last chance as Morbidelli opens up a sizable gap now from Pepe Oriola. Over a second. Bellicchi having to defend from Jordi Genet. And tyres not so much of an issue on this high-speed Monza circuit, but there is Avanasiev sensibly keeping out of the way as he limps back to the pits. And looking behind, Gleeson again takes a look at Monge. Gleeson up alongside, but has to give way because of Avanasiev. And Monge took to the gravel there. Gleeson saw a way through, but had to yield because of the limping Avanasiev. And so on the last lap, it looks as though Fernando Monge has done enough to hold on to that 5th place, and so that will be the Campos Racing team's best finish of the season so far, if he can hang on. I think there's a little gap behind him now to Kevin Gleeson, so that's the breathing space as Gianni Morbidelli comes down for the final time to the Parabolica. Jordi Genet hasn't given up, though. He's right up alongside Andrea Bellicchi as they go round the right-hander for the final time. 3rd place looks to be staying with Bellicchi. But no, indeed, the pair almost side by side as Gianni Morbidelli flashes his lights to take the checkered flag, as does Pepe Oriola 2nd. But no, indeed, Andrea Bellicchi holds on to 3rd. Jordi Genet will settle for 4th. Monge is 5th. He holds off Kevin Gleeson. Lorenzo Veglia it'll be, who finishes 7th. Zsolt Szabo, the young Hungarian in the Zengo Motorsport car, finishes 8th. Antonio D'Amico, making his debut in the TCR series, finishes 9th. And Tom Boardman, to everyone's surprise, and I suspect a huge amount of relief in the team, all the problems they've had with the gearbox leading up to this event in Monza, he still scores the Pro Team's and the Ford Focus's first championship point by finishing in 10th. Applause from the marshals. No home favoritism there whatsoever. Gianni Morbidelli, Italian driver, Italian-built car, although run by a Swedish team, West Coast Racing, takes victory, his second of the season. And there is Sergei Afanasiev still limping round, the car crabbing badly, you can see, as he limps round to the pits. But Gianni Morbidelli, both windows open to get some fresh air into the car, takes his second win of the year. And confirmation there that he may be a long, long way behind, but Tom Boardman finishes in 10th place. So the first point scored for the Ford Focus. And as I mentioned, 5th place. That'll be 10 points for Fernando Monge, the best result for the Campos team. There is Michel Nukia, waiting for the marshals to arrange recovery, so the target competition team will have the repair time between the two races, as will the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team to refettle Sergei Afanasiev's car in between the two rounds. So, job done as far as Gianni Morbidelli is concerned. A thrilling first race here at Monza. And I think a lot more drama than perhaps people were expecting. Certainly the predictions were that Gianni Morbidelli would make things look easy and take off from pole position, just as he did in Shanghai. But no, indeed, he had to fight for that win. As Nukia looks under the bonnet to see what kind of damage there has been. But if you cast your minds back to Shanghai, Morbidelli started from 10th on the grid, led the race with a couple of laps to go, and then some kind of mechanical problem, an electrical fault that the team, I don't think, really got to the bottom of, relegated him from the lead to 3rd place. But that could have so easily been 2 wins from 2 races for Gianni Morbidelli. And the smiles, the grins, and the thumbs up say it all from the West Coast Racing team. They're very happy. They wait in the pit lane to welcome their man back. There is Gianni Morbidelli as he pulls into the pit lane to celebrate his 2nd win of the season, becoming only the 2nd driver to win more than 1 race. Up as far as round 8, we'd had 7 different winners. Good girl, he says. Well done, thank you for looking after me. Thank you, guys. Gianni always quick to praise the West Coast Racing team in his interviews, whether it's after qualifying or after the races, for delivering such a good car. And the development of the Honda coming on in leaps and bounds. The team in the past have been critical of the balance of performance system that equates the performance levels of the various cars, but I think they can have no complaints here in Monza. Congratulations from the team. There is James Nixon, a hug from the team boss, the team manager, and Alessandro Mariani from Yas Sport, who built the car, offering his congratulations. And Gianni will take his helmet off. Fabio Ravioli, there he is, as you just saw. We'll be catching up with Gianni in a moment. But there is the man who finished 2nd, and getting congratulations from his dad. That's Pepe Oriola, who now leads the Drivers' Championship by 4 points from Morbidelli, thanks to that non-finish from Stefano Camini, but still only 5 points separating the top 3. That then is the Drivers' Championship, down as far as 7th place, Nukia. There is Camini's car waiting to be recovered. Let's take a look again at that accident involving Michel Nukia, who was aware that it was happening, tried to avoid it, but really couldn't go anywhere. Nukia coming off the worst of that 3-car scrap. And that's the moment at which Stefano Camini pulled off the track. You can see there the car not wanting to steer. And so Stefano Camini will be back out in race 2, but can the target competition car team repair Michel Nukia's car? That was a heavy shunt into the barriers. There's Nukia, congratulating thanking the marshals for their work. Let's head down to the pit lane then. Let's catch up with our race winner, Gianni Morbidelli.
Gianni Morbidelli, a victory, another victory from pole position, but it was not an easy one for you today.
No, absolutely. Other people thought yesterday that was an easy game for me, but in fact it's not like this. And I had a best start, but honestly it was not so bad. Just said that they started better than us. So we knew this, and I suffered a lot in the beginning. It was absolutely difficult to overtake the others. And as you can see in the straight, I was not much faster than them. So it was quite hard. I used a lot the brakes. I had to use the brakes, and the temperature of my brakes was very, very high. So I suffered for that as well. And you know, I did a good race. I must be proud of what I did, and I have to thank once again the West Coast Racing. We won together.
Thank you very much, and good luck for the second race.
Thank you, Gianni. Gianni talking there to Fabio Ravaioli. Let's take a look at the results of round 9 of the TCR International Series. Gianni Morbidelli taking the victory by just over a second from Pepe Oriola. Andrea Bellicchi third ahead of Jordi Genet. Then Monge, congratulations to him and the Campos Racing team, and congratulations also to Tom Boardman and the Onyx Motorsport team from the UK who built the car, and Pro Team from Italy who run it. Boardman scoring the first point for the Ford Focus ST by finishing in 10th. Confirmation too of our 5 non-finishers, Avanasiev, Grachev and Nukia involved in that incident. Kamini, that trip through the gravel, and Igor Shkuz, still unknown as to why Shkuz retired from that race. Highlights then of round 9 of the TCR International Series, round 10, just a minute or two away.